Hey, welcome back. In today's video, I thought I might show you a little Magic the Gathering build I've been working on recently. It is an Artifact Clone Deck, and it's one I've particularly enjoyed playing, not just because I made it, but because it's actually a genuinely fun deck to play, and has a lot of room for improvement, unlike some of the other decks that you may see around the game. This is a 60 card casual deck, so it's not a commander deck or anything, it's just one I've been piloting and playing with my friends recently, but it is pretty fun, and yeah, I'll get into it. It's a generally fun deck to play and has a lot of room for improvement, but I suppose you could say that for any deck. I'll also get into any negatives about the deck afterwards, so just like, subscribe, and I'll get into it. Also, please feel free to take this design and tell me what I can do to improve it, because one man can't build this deck alone. First of all, this deck revolves around a card called Master Transmuter. It's a 1 blue, 3 colourless artifact creature, whose entire gimmick is to play 1 blue, tap itself, and replace 1 artifact you control with 1 in your hand. And it is a very broken effect. This can be devastating for your opponent, but at the same time it's just a goofy little gimmick that can summon huge monsters for practically 0 cost. This card is essentially, I would say, the heart of the deck, and what you're going to do is play it and defend until you can get her out, and of course you're playing her at 4 copies, because, well, just be stupid not to. Up next, you want to play 4 copies of a card called Machine God's Effigy. I'm sure some of you might have heard of this card. It basically copies any creature on the field, with the added bonus of getting the ability to tap 1 for blue. This is also an essential card. It's incredibly versatile. The ability to swing into combos that can be devastating for your opponent is incredibly useful. You can use this to clone a card like Darksteel Colossus in your hand, or a Master Transmuter itself, so it's definitely worth running at 4, regardless of your specific build. Up next, we want to play 4 copies of Idol of Oblivion. Now, I've had people I've played against call this pick controversial or even inefficient, but I think it's a really good out if you don't have a Master Transmuter on the field, but have all the mana. Once again, its ability to pop off into some more powerful combos is incredibly useful. And obviously, you can side this out if you like, for some more artifacts for example, I suppose, but I think I like it how it is. The last main engine card in the engine is Mirrorworks. Now, obviously we want to play this card at 4, also because it's essentially another copy of Machine God's Effigy, though not quite as good. So that's all the main cards in the engine. So I think I'm going to get into the sort of extenders you can use to search cards for your engine. Obviously these are really important when it comes to popping off on certain combos, which I will also get into later. Up first, we of course have a copy of Sol Ring, because a deck without Sol Ring isn't really a deck, let's be honest. Up next, we have a copy of Thyran Dynamo. It is actually one of my favourite cards of all time. This card's summon cost is 4 mana. You can tap and add 3, which is incredibly useful, because tapping this card and a blue allows you to summon a Master Transmuter, which, as I said before, is the main goal of the deck. Next, we have 4 copies of Orthanopter, a very old card, and probably one of my favourites. It's needless to say why this card is good in this deck, due to its 0 mana cost, allowing you to bounce it from Master Transmuter on the field, to allow you to summon any artifact in your hand. This could be Darksteel Colossus, Machine God's Effigy, anything like that. And then you can immediately summon it back to the field for nothing, so it's kind of an obvious pick. Up next is Steel Overseer. Now, I mainly added this card to have things returned to the hand to replace the more powerful ones you're able to summon, but this actually has a lot of value on the field. It can tap itself and put a permanent 1/1 counter on all artifact creatures you control. This really helps to keep Master Transmuter and other cards on the field, as its stackable buffs help its longevity and board presence over time, so naturally you want to play this at 4. Up next, we want to play 1 copy of Scavenge Brawler, Traxos, Scourge of Krug, and Metalwork Colossus. These are super nice reliable backup cards to run just in case you need the extra firepower. Not likely that you will, but it's nice to have a contingency plan. Just nice generic beat sticks to intimidate your opponent and can still be summoned through Master Transmuter. So the synergy's there. Then we want to play one copy of Ichor Wellspring and one copy of Lythorm Engine. These are just some nice extenders that allow you to draw into some combos, or in Lythorm Engine's case, directly copy a combo card that can kickstart a play. Definitely a decent card to have as a backup, just in case. Up next, we have one copy of one of the strongest cards in the deck, Smelting Vat. You can tap one and itself to reveal the top 8 cards of your library, sacrifice an artifact you control, put 2 non-creature artifacts from that pile into your battlefield for free, and shuffle the rest back into your deck. Now this is a huge advantage when it comes to searching for starters like Machine Gun's Effigy, Mirrorwork, and Idol of Oblivion if you choose to run it, of course. And then place them directly into the battlefield. The only reason I chose to run one of this is due to hand consistency issues that this deck is somewhat prone to. Last but certainly not least, we have the main beat sticks of the deck. 4 copies of Darksteel Colossus. This is the card you're going to want to play from your hand by the effect of Master Transmuter. It's the main win condition to the deck, so naturally you want to go into run 4 for the maximum chance to draw into it. Although I suppose if you're not running Idol of Oblivion, you could run more beat sticks, but that comes down to personal preference. Now the rest of the deck is made up of basic lands, mainly blues, although I suppose you could split this up into black if you wanted to play a more controlling variant of the deck. Now onto the issues. This deck's main weakness, which is one I'm constantly trying to solve, is its hand consistency, specifically the ratio of creatures to artifacts to basic land cards. And I'm still tinkering around with some of the micromanagements, and I'll probably make a video explaining the updated deck and how to play it. But for now, this is pretty much the best I can come up with. Now we can get into the interesting part of this video, the combo. Obviously this is a somewhat grindy deck. Basically that means that you have to wait for your cards to come to you, most of the time. Scenario 1. You have 4 basic blue lands, a Master Transmuter, an Ichor Wellspring, and a Thyran Dynamo on the field. In addition, you have Machine God's Effigy, Darksteel Colossus, and 2 copies of Ornithopter in your hand. This is a great spot to be in. Not only do you have materials to bounce off your hand by the effect of Master Transmuter, and a big bad monster in your hand to summon basically for free. You would activate Master Transmuter, paying 1 blue, and tapping her to send Ichor Wellspring back to your hand, and summon Darksteel Colossus to your field. You can also activate Ichor Wellspring to draw a card as it leaves the field. Then you can activate Machine God's Effigy to clone the Darksteel Colossus for an extra float monster for double the damage. And so, assuming you keep drawing strong creatures, you have a fairly strong setup. What you don't want to do is to return Steel Overseer to the hand, as it loses its board potential, and it gives 1 free 1/1 buff to all artifacts you own. Although you could activate its effect, bounce it back to your hand, then resummon it, provided you had enough mana, but that would remove all its own counters. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this video, just as much as I've enjoyed making it, and please leave down below any comments or suggestions you have to improve this deck. Once again, I'm Rather Strange, and I'll see you soon.